Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this evening's severe weather update. So we have the potential for a tornado outbreak tomorrow across central southern Kansas into central Oklahoma, where the Storm Prediction Center has issued an enhanced risk of severe weather for tomorrow, including areas like Colby, Kansas, Wichita, Kansas, extending southward into Oklahoma City and Norman, Oklahoma. We have a slight risk tomorrow extending from southern Oklahoma, covering much of Kansas and northeastern Colorado, much of Nebraska into central southern South Dakota, and we have a marginal risk of severe weather extending all the way from northwest Texas into southern South Dakota into southwestern Minnesota in the dark green. And we also have a marginal risk of severe weather across Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and Florida tomorrow. So, looking at tomorrow's tornado threat, the Storm Prediction Center has already issued a 10% significant tornado threat across central southern Kansas, extending down into central Oklahoma, including areas like Wichita, Kansas, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, and Norman, Oklahoma. So, if you live in this yellow hatched area tomorrow, please prepare now for the possibility of several tornadoes in your area, including some strong to violent EF2 or stronger tornadoes. And make sure you have your tornado shelter plan in place tomorrow if you live in this yellow hatched area, preferably underground shelters. We have a 5% chance of tornadoes touching down within 25 miles of location in the Brown area, including Colby, Garden City, Tulsa, Fort Sill, and Woodward. And we have a 2% chance of tornadoes touching down within 25 miles of a location, extending from areas like Dallas, Wichita Falls, all the way through areas like Liberal, McCook, and Valentine. Looking at tomorrow's damaging wind threat, we have a 15% chance of damaging straight line winds of 58 miles per hour stronger within 25 miles of a location, extending from central Oklahoma through Kansas, northeastern Colorado, much of Nebraska, into central southern South Dakota, and we have a 5% damaging wind risk in the Brown areas tomorrow as well. So make sure you're preparing for scattered damaging wind gusts if you live in the yellow area tomorrow. Looking at the large hail threat, we have a significant hail threat once again tomorrow across central southern Kansas, extending from north to south across central Oklahoma, where we have a 30% chance of quarter-sized hail or larger within 25 miles of a location in the red area tomorrow, a 15% chance in the yellow, 5% chance in the brown areas, and then we have a large hatched area once again tomorrow. So in areas like Fort Sill, Oklahoma City, Norman, Woodward, Wichita, Kansas, you need to be parking your cars in the garage tomorrow, as we're likely going to be seeing several storms producing hailstones of golf ball, tennis ball, baseball to softball size tomorrow. So we once again have a significant hail threat across this area tomorrow. Now, looking at the significant tornado parameter in the NAM-NEST model tomorrow, this is going to be a late evening, early overnight tornado threat. So as we go into 5 o'clock tomorrow evening, we're going to have a pretty low tornado threat. But as we go into around 7 and 8 o'clock Central Daylight Time tomorrow, our tornado parameters are going to ramp up across central southern Oklahoma, far northern Texas, where we could be seeing significant tornado parameters between 3 and 5 with isolated 7. And then as we go into 9 o'clock, this is where the tornado threat is going to get dangerous. We could be seeing significant tornado parameter values going over 8 across west central Oklahoma near Woodward by 9 o'clock. As we go into 10 o'clock, we're going to be seeing very dangerous significant tornado parameters between 5 and 7 across southern Oklahoma, near Oklahoma City, north central Oklahoma. Going into midnight, this is where I mentioned we could be seeing a nocturnal tornado threat. We could be seeing significant tornado parameters between 5 and 7 across south central Kansas, north central Oklahoma, across central southern Oklahoma, maintaining between 3 and 6 by midnight. And even as we go into 1 and 2 a.m. across east central Oklahoma, we're going to be seeing those dangerously high significant tornado parameters between 4 and 6. So this could even go as late as 4 or 5 a.m. So if you live across pretty much from west central Oklahoma all the way through east central Oklahoma, south central Kansas, southeastern Kansas, you need to be preparing for a nocturnal tornado threat tomorrow night. As this model is indicating, we could be seeing a dangerous nocturnal tornado threat in these areas tomorrow. And I took several soundings across the area to get an idea of just how volatile the atmosphere is going to be in this classic May tornado outbreak setup. So across western Oklahoma, we have a curved hodograph indicating directional shear is in place across west central Oklahoma, favorable for tornado development. We got service to 1 kilometer storm relative helicity of 327 with speed shear of near 30 knots and service to 6 kilometer shear 49 knots. So these parameters are all very favorable for supercells and tornadoes across western Oklahoma tomorrow. Now there is thankfully a bust scenario tomorrow. Looking at the sounding itself, looking at the temperature and air parcel profile, we have the potential to see a cap on the atmosphere tomorrow, and this could prevent the storms from developing. So we have a silver lining tomorrow, as we could be seeing capping preventing storms developing across western Oklahoma in these soundings. Looking at sounding near Sherman, Texas, this is the Oklahoma-Texas border. We once again have a curved looping hodograph indicating directional wind shear across the Texas-Oklahoma border. We have the tornado potential hazard type, and we have service to 1 kilometer storm relative helicity of 297, speed shear of 27 knots, service to 6 kilometer wind shear is at 38 knots. This environment is very favorable for supercells and tornadoes across the Oklahoma-Texas border tomorrow evening. And we have this area, we have Cape near 4,000, so we're also going to have a lot of instability to work with. And in this area, the cap is going to be a lot weaker, so we're going to be seeing a higher threat for supercells and storms developing across the Texas-Oklahoma border tomorrow. Looking at the sounding from the Oklahoma City metro area, we have once again a curved hodograph indicating directional shear in the Oklahoma City metro area. A tornado potential hazard type. We have service to 1 kilometer storm relative helicity of 280, speed shear at 27 knots, service to 6 kilometer wind shear at 38 knots. These parameters are once again favorable for supercells and tornadoes across the Oklahoma City metro area. We have our cape between 2,500 and 3,000 and a weak cap across Oklahoma City. So Oklahoma City, I'm afraid you are under the gun for a significant tornado threat tomorrow, looking at these soundings. Looking at a sounding from northern Oklahoma, we have an even larger hodograph indicating even more directional wind shear is in place across north central Oklahoma. We have the tornado as the hazard type. Our service to 1 kilometer helicity is approaching dangerous levels across north central Oklahoma of 402 meters squared second square with speed shear of 34 knots. Service to 6 kilometer wind shear is at 50 knots. Our cape is between 2 and 3,000, but look at this across north central Oklahoma. We have that little capping inversion that could be in place, which could act as a saving grace across north central Oklahoma as well. So let's hope and pray that this cap holds tomorrow. Looking at the sounding from Wichita, Kansas, we have a curving hodograph as well in Wichita, Kansas, indicating a lot of directional wind shear. Tornado hazard type, we have service to 1 kilometer storm relative helicity of 382, service 1 kilometer shear of 34 knots, service to 6 kilometer shear at 49 knots, cape between 2,200 and 2,500. We also have that little capping across areas like Wichita. So it's going to be tomorrow's going to be a day to really watch, especially across Oklahoma, Kansas, even down towards the Texas border, as we could be seeing the potential of dangerous severe weather, including a tornado outbreak tomorrow. So if you live anywhere across south central, north central Oklahoma into south central, even northwest Kansas, make sure you're preparing now for a potential tornado outbreak, as the atmospheric ingredients are in place for a tornado outbreak, especially if the cap breaks tomorrow. Thanks for watching this evening's severe weather update. Stay safe. Have a wonderful evening, my friends.